My partner wants me to sell my apartment because he doesn't want our child raised in a home purchased with money from my former job, though he never objected to my past career until I became pregnant. For several years, I worked as an exotic dancer. I'm not ashamed of it and only left when I landed a better job opportunity. During my time as a dancer, I lived frugally, small, rundown apartment, eating cheap meals, wearing second-hand clothes, because colleagues advised that saving aggressively could lead to owning property. Before leaving that job, I managed to buy a 3-bedroom apartment outright. I rented out the extra rooms for a while, but grew tired of roommates, so now I list them for short-term stays instead. I met my boyfriend about 1.5 years ago, and we've been together since. He's aware of my work history and said he was fine with it, though he asked me to tell his family I was a server, a half-truth I sometimes use on my resume. A month ago, I discovered I'm 2 months pregnant. He was thrilled about the pregnancy and suggested we move in together. I assumed he'd move into my place since he rents a small 1-bedroom while I own a spacious 3-bedroom apartment with room for a nursery. Plus, I love my home and can't imagine leaving it. It's my apartment, my pride and joy, and I envision living here forever. I value the financial security of owning it outright and dread returning to monthly rent or mortgage payments. But he insisted he didn't want to live in my apartment and suggested I sell it so we could buy a place together. I explained how much the apartment means to me, representing years of hard work and sacrifice. He acknowledged my feelings, but maintained we should live together by the time the baby arrives, and he couldn't live in my apartment. When I asked why, it's centrally located, roomy, perfect for his belongings, with a daycare in the building run by another resident and a school nearby. He admitted he didn't want to live in a home bought with dancer money. That infuriated me, and I pointed out he never minded my dancer money before. I told him I wouldn't sacrifice the security of my home for someone trying to shame me for a past I'm not ashamed of. He argued that selling the apartment would allow us to buy a new place together. I asked how that was different from using dancer money, and he said it just was. When I pressed him, he left for his place, saying we couldn't talk when I was like this. He later texted, calling me overly emotional and irrational, urging me to think practically. He said he wouldn't feel right raising our child in my apartment, knowing how I bought it, and that it would never feel like our home since his name isn't on the deed. I'm starting to wonder if I'm wrong here. I understand why he might feel it's just my place and maybe I'm being too stubborn when we should be compromising. My sister agrees with him, so 2 out of 3 people think I'm mistaken. Am I wrong? Edit. For anyone reading, I ended the relationship. We had a long discussion, and he said he didn't want to be a parent unless I agreed to everything he wanted, including selling my apartment and sharing a new home's deed. I offered to sell and split a new place if he paid half, as some suggested, but he got furious fast. He said other things too, so I'm likely facing single motherhood. Update 1, I'm in England. I recently learned I'm pregnant. I can't use the pill or an implant for medical reasons, so we relied on condoms. I'm now 2 months pregnant with his child. I own my apartment and have a good job, while he runs a struggling startup and picks up agency work. We spoke yesterday, and, following advice, I recorded the conversation after some suspected he might have tampered with our contraception. I started my phone's recorder when he arrived. He initially said he wouldn't be involved in the baby's life if we weren't together. When I suggested shared custody, he dismissed it. Later, he admitted, "I thought a baby would fix things." I said it only strained our relationship since the pregnancy was unplanned. He snapped, "Of course it was planned. How else did you get pregnant? Magic." After a pause, he added, "I'm joking, stop looking at me like that." I directly asked if he tampered with the condoms, and he quietly admitted, "Yeah." I told him to leave, and he said, "Keep it, don't keep it, I don't care," before storming out. I texted him later asking why. He called, and I recorded the call on my MP3 player. He confessed he hoped I'd sell my apartment, buy a new place with a mortgage, and use the funds to boost his business. I hung up. Before our talk, I consulted a solicitor who handles custody cases, married to a friend of mine. She's kind but gossipy and a bit patronizing, so I don't want her or her husband knowing about the recordings unless they're usable. My ex didn't know I was recording, and both are audio, only with our names mentioned in the first but not the second. Are these recordings admissible in a custody case? Are they useful given the context? They seem like they could win my case, but if they're inadmissible, I don't want him knowing they exist. If they're useful, should I send them to my friend's husband? Thanks. Update 2, many asked for an update. I ended things with him. He initially said he didn't want to be a parent unless we were a couple, but earlier this week, he demanded majority custody to avoid child support and even make me pay him. He admitted his startup is failing and hoped selling my apartment would fund it. I have extensive documentation of all this. I've sought legal advice and plan to pursue sole custody, which looks likely. My sister has doubled down, urging me to reconcile for a complete family. So I've cut her out of my pregnancy updates, which she's furious about. She told our parents, which I'm livid about, so we're not speaking. Thanks to everyone who commented on my first post. I was convinced I was wrong, but your support helped me trust myself. With everything happening, I've started therapy next week. I'm likely to be a single mother in my own apartment, a pretty good outcome. Update 3, it's twins and I'm panicking. I had a scan today and the technician thinks they're identical. I thought I was 14 weeks along, but she said the babies and I seem bigger, more like 16 weeks. She gave an estimated due date in early March, but noted twins make it harder to pinpoint. Everything else looks healthy, which is great, but twins. There's 2 and only one of me. I'm terrified. I've never been a parent and don't know what I'm doing. 2 tiny humans will depend on me, arriving sometime in March. When exactly is a mystery. I have space and resources for twins, but I'm scared. Do they share a room or get separate ones? A friend offered to stay after the birth and I declined, but should I reconsider? Are there unique challenges with twins? Is this vague due window normal? Can it be narrowed later? Any advice on twins or the due date would help. Update 4. I was in a controlling 18-month relationship and lost touch with many friends because of my ex's disapproval. After our breakup, pregnant with twins, I started therapy. My therapist encouraged reconnecting with friends I'd neglected, starting with Lily and Caleb. They were thrilled to hear from me and understanding about my ex. I reached out in mid-October, and we picked up like no time had passed. Lily and I have been friends since childhood. I met Caleb at university nearly a decade ago. My ex disliked Lily for being bisexual like me, and Caleb for being a straight man. Over Christmas, I invited them over since we were all alone. They became friends, and with others, gifted me baby supplies and a mixer. They've since helped with the nursery, driven me to appointments, and brought me ice cream when I craved it. I went into labor 3 weeks ago, nearly a month early. With premature twins, it's been chaotic. I didn't take visitors initially, but they left meals, snacks, and formula at my door. When I started accepting visitors, they'd come together. One watches the girls while the other cleans. I'm writing this because Caleb got both girls to sleep, and Lily left dinner. I struggle to ask for help, having been self-sufficient since youth, but they just show up and help without waiting for me to ask. I thank them constantly, but they brush it off, saying it's what friends do. I know they're going above and beyond. How do I properly thank Lily and Caleb for their incredible support? Where do I start? Update 5. I have 3-month-old twin girls. I've been no contact with my abusive parents for a decade since they kicked me out as a teen. I won't let them meet my kids. My sister, 3 months pregnant, lives with them and plans to let them raise her child while she's only the mother on paper. Iwater, I called her to discuss options to protect the baby from our parents. She said she'd allow me to adopt the child legally as the only alternative she'd consider. The biological father isn't involved, so he's not a factor. I have the finances, and with adjustments, the space for a third child. I can extend my maternity leave to a full year, giving me 3 months to settle after the newborn arrives. I'm a single mother but have supportive friends and free childcare through my job. Is adoption a good idea? What would having 9-month-old twins and a newborn be like? Would their close ages impact their development? Update 6. I have 3-month-old twins, and my sister, 3 months pregnant, wants me to adopt her child. This means I'd have 3 children under one when my twins are 9 months old. The twins are doing well, sleeping 4 to 5 hours, and haven't had major issues despite being slightly premature. I've arranged childcare for returning to work. I can extend my maternity leave to a year, taking 6 months off, then 3 months to adjust after the newborn arrives, or return for 5 to 6 months and take a second leave when the baby comes. Which is better? My 3-bedroom apartment was planned for each twin to have a room, but with a third child, could they share? For how long? Should I move to a bigger place immediately or wait until I save more? I want to protect my sister's child, but managing 3 babies as a single parent feels daunting. What's it like raising 3 under one? Any advice? Update 7. I'm adopting my sister's son, born 8 days ago, over 2 months premature. The birth was meant to be natural but became a C-section due to complications. though it went smoothly. The doctor wants to keep him longer for safety, but since the adoption isn't formalized and I'm not the birth mother, I can't visit due to visitor restrictions. My sister, the birth mother, has visited once. I was supposed to take him home yesterday, but they're running more tests. I'm getting minimal information because I'm not legally his mother yet. I'm frustrated, anxious, and just want him home safe. Update 8, July 29, 2025. I lost my account password but recovered it after seeing a post that angered me. Thanks for the messages asking about me and the kids. I'm doing well, better than a couple of years ago. The girls are 4, starting school in September, and I'm emotional about how fast time has passed. My son, born just after the school cutoff, starts next year, which he's upset about, but I think it's better long-term. My last boyfriend, not the father, was also toxic, so I took a break from dating. I reconnected with Lily and Caleb, and we're approaching our first anniversary as a throuple. The kids are thrilled. I switched jobs 18 months ago to a well-paying hybrid role, giving me time with the kids. The baby's father is dodging child support, but I don't need it, and legal action didn't progress, though it's documented if he causes issues later. He's recently married, and I hope his wife controls their contraception. I'm still no contact with my abusive family. Relatives occasionally complain online about me keeping the kids away, but it's for their safety. I considered selling my apartment due to space, but bought the neighboring unit and merged them, solving my space issues without losing the home I love, a symbol of my achievements. My hair's red now, but otherwise, things are stable. Happy to answer questions. Thanks for the support. It helped me escape a controlling relationship and build my beautiful family and home.